Super quick video where I just wanted to tell you guys about comments. Comments are basically notes that you can make while writing a program. When you want to write a comment, just start the comment with a hashtag and then write any note you want to write. For example, I can write hashtag, "This is a program about printing things." Just keep in mind that your note can only stay on one line. So I can't write hashtag this is and then go to the next line and write a program. However, I can use a new hashtag on the next line and write hashtag this is and go to the next line and write hashtag a program. Comments are not a part of your code and will not affect your code in any way. They are also not necessary. They are just for you to keep track of your thoughts and make notes if you want to. That's all for comments. Hey guys, welcome to your second unit where you're going to learn about variables. So what are variables? Variables are like containers for storing data. The names of variables must start with either a letter or an underscore. They can be any combination of letters, numbers, and underscores. Here are some examples of variable names. X, Y, Z, my underscore variable, and this underscore is underscore a underscore variable. You should know that variable names are case sensitive. For example, that means that the variable name my underscore variable is a completely different variable than the name my underscore variable where the M is capital. So you can store data such as numbers and texts in each of these variables. Now, how do we declare variables? If I wanted to create a variable x and store the value 5 in there, I would simply write x equals to 5. Yes, it's that simple. To declare a variable, you just write the variable name, write an equal to sign, and write the data you want to store. Here is another example. If I wanted to store data, such as a text, apple, then I would create a variable, such as fruit underscore name, and store that text in there. So I would say, fruit underscore name equals to apple, and I would put apple in quotation marks. Now, calling on this variable would return apple. So remember the print function that we learned? In this case, if I were to write the code, print fruit underscore name, can you guess what the output would be? Let's run it and see. Yep, it will be apple. So when you print out variables, the data stored in the variable is printed. It works for numbers too. Let's say I declared the variable y equals to 5, and then I wrote print y. Guess what the output would be? I'm going to run it, and you can see on the terminal that it will be 5. You can try it out too. Open up Visual Studio and create a new file by clicking on Command N or by clicking on New File. Then, save the file and name it variable.py. You can play around with variables in this file. So go ahead and create variables and try to print them out. You can start with a simple one. Write message equals to hello in quotation marks in the first line, and then in the next line, write print message. Now, run the code and you should get the output hello in the terminal. See how that works? Feel free to play around with variables a little bit more. You'll learn more about variables in the next video. Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to learn more about assigning values to variables in this video. So, when you assign data to a variable, that data is not fixed. You can reassign different data if you want. Here's what I mean. Let's say I declare the variable x is equal to 5. Then, on the next line, I reassign a different value to x and I write x is equal to 9. The value of x would now be 9. I reassign the data 9 to x. And if I were to write print x in the next line, can you guess what the output would be? When I run the code, you can see that the output is 9. So you can reassign values to variables. You can also reassign the values of variables to other variables. Here's what I mean. Let's say I write the following code. I write A is equal to 5, B is equal to 6, and then I reassign the value of A to the value of B by writing A is equal to B. Now, the value of A will be 6 and not 5. It's now the value of B. If I were to write print A, the output will be 6 and not 5 because I reassigned the value of A to B. This works the same way for text and other data as well. Try it out yourself. Go back to the same file variable.py and delete all the existing code in there. Now, refer to the next article to guide you through a small, simple activity you will do in this file to understand this concept better. In this video, I just wanted to show you guys some different ways you can assign values to multiple variables. Let's say I had 3 variables, x, y, and z, and I wanted to assign the value 5 to each of these variables. I could write it like this. X is equal to 5, y is equal to 5, and z is equal to 5. But there is an easier way of doing that. I could simply just write x is equal to y is equal to z is equal to 5. These two pieces of code mean the same thing, and they're both right, except that the second one is easier and faster. Here's another such idea. Let's say I wanted to create 3 variables called food1, food2, and food3, and I wanted to assign the values cookie, pie, and pancake to each of those variables respectively. I could write the code like this. Food1 is equal to cookie, food2 is equal to pie, food3 is equal to pancake. However, I could also write the code this way. Food1, food2, food3 is equal to cookie, pie, pancake. Again, these two pieces of code mean the same thing. So, these are 2 ideas that show you easier ways of assigning multiple variables to multiple values. Feel free to play around with these 2 concepts and write your own code to try it out. Hey guys, in this video, we're going to learn about strings. So remember print hello world? Hello world is what you call a string. A string is a sequence of characters. Characters meaning alphabets, numbers, spaces, and symbols. Any characters you put inside quotation marks is a string. Here are some examples of strings. This course is so fun. $99% Basically, anything you put inside quotation marks is a string. You should use strings whenever you want to print or store a series of characters. You can store strings in variables. From the previous variable unit, do you remember some of the examples I showed you, such as fruit_name is equal to apple and food1 is equal to cookie? In these cases, apple and cookie are both strings because they are both inside quotation marks. You must always put strings in quotation marks. The following declaration of a string, food1 is equal to cookie, would result in an error because there are no quotation marks. Here's an example. If I wanted to print a string such as hello world, I'm learning Python, then I could create a variable and store a string in it, and then print it out. So, I would create a variable such as my_string, and I would store the string hello world, I'm learning Python in that variable. See that hello world, I'm learning Python is inside quotation marks. This is what makes it a string. Then I would write print my_string to print out the variable. And when I run the code, I get hello world, I'm learning Python as my output. I could also just print out a string by writing print Hello world, I'm learning Python. That's how you print strings. Now let's say that in my underscore string, I wanted the output to be hello world on the first line, and I'm learning Python on the second line, like this. I don't want it to be consecutive words. What would I do then? I could use the \n feature. So the \n is basically like this. Whenever you write \n in a string, it means that you are going to the next line. \n is never actually printed out and doesn't count as a character. So if I wanted the string to be hello world on the first line, and then go to the next line and be I'm learning Python on the second line, I would write it like this. My string is equal to, and inside quotation marks, hello world, comma, \n, I'm learning Python. Predict what the output would be when I print this string now. When I run it, you can see that it prints out hello world on the first line, and then prints out I'm learning Python on the next line. Try the next activity to practice using \n in strings. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to show you how the computer counts characters in a string. So as you can see here, I have the string hello. Each letter in this string is a character. If I asked you how many characters were in the string, then you would most likely count the number of characters in the string. In this string, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters, and that's true. If I asked you what character number 1 was, you would probably say H. But here's the thing. The computer counts the characters starting from 0, not from 1. So, in this case, H is the 0th character, E is the first character, L is the second character, and so on. That is the main takeaway of this video. When you count characters in a string, always start the first one as 0, because that's how Python counts it. Now, refer to the next article to practice the content that you learned. Hey guys, in this video we're going to learn how to access specific characters of a string. As you can see over here, I have the string programming ! stored in a variable called my_string. So what if I wanted to print out only the 5th character in the string? Remember that the computer would read the 5th character as character number 4 because the first character is actually 0. So if I wanted to print out only the 5th character, here's what I would write. Print my_string, and in square brackets, I would write 4. Whenever you want to access a certain character of a string, always follow the format, variable name, and in square brackets, write the number. Guess what the output of this code would be? When I run the code, you can see that the output is only R, which is the 5th character. Now what if I wanted to print only the first 5 characters of the string? I want to print the character numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, but not number 5, because those are the first 5 characters. Here's what I would do. I would write print my_string, and in square brackets, I would write 0 is to 5. This technique of printing a certain chunk of a string is called slicing. When you want to print only a certain chunk of a string, follow the format, variable name, and in square brackets, write the first number, a colon, and then write the second number plus 1. Remember this, the second number in the square brackets should always be the last character you want to print out plus 1, because of what we learned about the computer starting counting characters from 0. So in this case, if I want to print out the characters 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then I would write 0 is to 4 plus 1 in the square brackets, which is 0:5. So when I run the code, you can see that it prints PROGR, the first 5 characters of the string. Here's another example. If I wanted to print out only the last 2 exclamation marks of the string, what would I do then? Pause the video and take a guess. Well, when you count the characters in the string starting from 0, you will find that the last 2 exclamation marks are characters number 11 and 12. So I would write print my_string, and in the square brackets, I would write 11:13. This code will print everything in the string from character number 11 to character number 13 minus 1, which is 12. So when I run the code, you can see that the output is the last 2 exclamation marks. Now try the activity below to practice slicing strings yourself. Hey guys, you're going to learn about concatenating strings. This one is a very simple concept. Concatenating strings is basically adding 2 or more strings together to make one big string. Just use a plus sign between the strings you want to add together. Here's an example. If I wanted to print hello world to the terminal, I could use hello as one string and world as a separate string, and then add those strings together, like this. I would write print open brackets and put hello inside quotation marks. Hello is my first string. Then I will put a plus sign and then put space world inside quotation marks, which is my second string. Notice that I put a space before world because I want there to be a space. Without a space, this is what the output would look like. So, when I run the code, you can see that it prints out hello world and adds the 2 strings together. That's how you add strings. Hey guys, in this video, you're going to learn about the find method in strings. The find method basically allows you to find any part of a string in a string. For example, if I had the string I'm learning Python stored in a variable called my_string, and I wanted to find where the word learning is in the string, then I would use the find method. The find method would basically give me the index, which means the character count, of the first occurrence of this word. So, if I wanted to print the index, which again means character count, of the string learning in my_string, then I would write print string.find, and in brackets and in quotation marks, I would write learning. And when I run this code, it will return the character count of where learning occurs in my_string. This is the format you should follow for the find method. Write the name of the variable you want to find a string in, followed by a dot, followed by the word find, and then open brackets, and put the string you are looking for inside quotation marks inside the brackets. I'll show you another example. I'll create a variable called message and store the string hello world in it. Let's say I wanted to find the first occurrence of the letter L in the string and print out the index. Then I would write print, and in brackets I would write message.find, and then in another pair of brackets and in quotation marks I would write the letter L. Remember that I am finding only the very first occurrence of L, not all of them. Pause the video and guess what the output would be. The output is 2, because that is the index of when L first occurs in the string. Now what if I looked for an exclamation mark in the string? What number would it return then? Notice that there is no exclamation mark in message. When you look for something in a string that is not there, the number returned will always be -1. For example, when I look for an exclamation mark in message and write print message.find exclamation mark, when I run this code, as you can see, the output is -1. This is how the find method works. Feel free to play around with finding parts of strings in strings using the find method yourself.